My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. Now, I've been doing these videos for many years. There's over 200 plant videos in the catalogue on my channel. I'm pleased to say that this is a brand new video. I have not touched this subject before because I haven't had a suitable plant with which to do it. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how to bring back a plant from death's door that's got aphid or greenfly. What I have in front of me is a salvia. Now, where I live in the northeast in the US, in Connecticut, this plant will not go through the winter. It needs some winter protection. So last fall I dug it up, cut around the root ball, got a big chunk of roots, stuck it in a pot, and have had it frost-free ever since in my greenhouse. You can even see where I roughly cut it back last year. And all I want it to do is come through the winter. I don't want it big and bushy because it takes up too much space. Keep it on the dry side, but keep it alive. And I can tell that it's thriving because we've got little shoots coming, so that's good. But I've been nurturing this for this video, and that is I've deliberately allowed it to get greenfly or aphid, and it's been untreated for many, many weeks. And I want to explain to you what to do and how to treat this, because all of us get greenfly on occasions, and it can be a little bit daunting. There's lots of treatments out there. I think many of them, if they are done in conjunction with each other, will give you the best results. Now, just a tip, you'll often see adding a little bit of dish soap to whatever spray you use. The reason for that is that it acts as a surfactant, and what that means is it's a wetting agent. So when you spray something, a lot of it runs off. The surfactant in spray means that it will stick to the leaves and give you a much better job. So when you see any reference to adding dish soap, that's what it's doing. Now, you can buy a range of concentrated chemicals that you then mix, but I prefer to get them pre-diluted. You are not burdened with too strong or too weak. And I've had great success with neem oil. It's very inert, very safe. It does the job. It's perhaps not as rapid as you might think but what this does, it interrupts the life cycle. So it might not kill every single bug on your plant on the first application, but you can be sure that subsequent applications will keep it under control. And that's what we're going to battle here. So this is my chemical of choice, my pre-mixed, pre-established chemical of choice, and we'll be using that shortly. Now, what you'll need for this job is the trusty pair of clippers. I've mentioned these many times before. This is the Falcos. Very, very good. If you don't have them, get them. If you've ever seen a good gardener with these, ask them what they think, and they're absolutely invaluable, particularly when you get to these thicker, tougher cuts. If you don't have clippers and you are cutting back soft growth like this, you can try using scissors. I thoroughly recommend you don't rely on this because it's not what they were made for, and you end up shearing the stem and not doing a nice clean cut. So although this is tempting, don't do it. So what is it that we want to do? Here we are in February, and this plant is starting to respond to the increased day length. We are 8 weeks beyond the end of December. What is it, the 21st, 23rd, the shortest day in the year. So gradually the day length's increasing, and the plants sense that. We also get slightly higher temperatures during the day, and they also sense that. So this plant's thinking, right, it's time for us to grow, let's get to it. But what we need to do is do some pruning first. So we're going to cut back, where you see this dieback, we're going to cut back to a nice live shoot. And it's really important that these fragments that get cut off, that are contaminated and covered in greenfly and greenfly or aphid, don't just drop them around, because this is reinfection. You want to put these in a bag and get rid of them. So I'm just going to go around the plant, cutting off all the dead stems to a nice live shoot. Whenever you're considering spraying a plant, either with foliar feed to give it nutrients, or in this case, to reduce the existence of the aphid, It's very important that you give it an even application. You don't just get one side or one branch. So please bear that in mind. This has been cut back and we've got the crown that I want, and in a matter of weeks we'll get nice fresh new foliage on this. And this is the trick. Every one of these shoots has got evidence of the greenfly or aphid on the outside, but on the underside is where you'll find juveniles and eggs. So these are a hotbed of recontamination. So what are we going to do? We're going to pull off all the leaves. If you leave a thick canopy of leaves on the plant that you want to spray, you will absolutely be providing a place for aphid and greenfly to hide. You can tell that you've got the greenfly when, as you do this, you can feel that it's sticky. That's evidence that the greenfly really have got to an excessive level. And when I say pull off the leaves, it's the big leaves that we want, because these big leaves will shield the spray from getting to the underside of the plant that we want to rescue. So make sure that as these leaves come off, you put them in a pile and that they don't stay in close proximity to your plants. Anytime you use a spray on your plants, make sure that you read the label and that you use as instructed. Now the reason I took this out of the pot is I want to show you how dry it is. It's a little bit darker in the middle, but all of this is dry, and that's how I like to take my plants through the winter. Because it's cooler and there's less sunlight, they're growing, but they're not actively growing. They're not vibrant and full. And by keeping it on the dry side, those light levels, heat and water are all in alignment. The plant is not going to try and grow out of its skin. But now we want to reinvigorate it. So if you were so inclined, you could come through here and trim these roots, and then we're going to be putting it into a pot in a moment. But this is perfect. You see the amount of foliage we've got rid of, and we're now ready to start spraying. Make sure that you turn the little nozzle right here, and one of them is for distance, that one, and one of them is for spray. There. So we start at the top and we go down, and because those leaves have been removed, we get really good coverage. This is important. Rotate 90 degrees and do it all over again. Rotate 90 degrees and do it again. And then one more time. I think you can see that we have successfully covered all branches, all stems on all four sides. And this is the trick. If you have an area that doesn't get sprayed, that can be a source for reinfection. And you wait 2 weeks and you've got another outbreak of greenfly. By doing it this way, you'll get the vast majority of existing adults and some of the eggs that were hiding behind branches and under leaves. And then in a week from now, 2 weeks from now, you do it all over again, and that source of reinfection is just gone. You interrupt the life cycle and you reduce the existence of new emerging eggs. So that all that is left for us to do now is to find a pot for this and repot it. Let's do that. When it comes to repotting, this is when you want to decide if you want to reduce the root ball. Now I've just given this a little bit of a shake, and I'm going to trim this. But here, this is a wonderful example of where you can get an extra plant. Now don't pull it too prematurely. It might separate, but it will be attached. And I can now feel where it goes, and I can cut that. Ah, look at that. little shoots, roots, we have a plant. Now don't put this where the clippings are, put this in a different spot. So there we go, that's good. There's a new shoot, but we don't want that. Now you might say, why on earth are you cutting the roots back? That had a nice healthy root ball. What's wrong with it? Well, if you're not careful, these root balls can get really big and really heavy, even with a modern mix. So by giving it a bit of a prune back, this will get put into a nice pot with fresh potting mix, and then we'll give it some fertilizer and some feed, and then that will initiate new roots. New roots will start to grow from this root ball into the new potting mix. And what we're looking for is a nice healthy plant in about 6 to 8 weeks with new foliage on it that's easy to handle, healthy, and able to be planted outside. So everything you do when you are overwintering plants is not necessarily to make them look beautiful now, it's so that they can be planted outside in a pot or a patio or in the ground, healthy. So that's the goal. Now, it might be tempting to want to use all of this potting mix that you see here. Remember, this is going to be contaminated. This has got eggs in it, this has got greenfly in it, and aphid, and we don't want any of it. We don't want that in our new planted container. Make sure that you get a container that the plant will fit in, and do that by carefully holding it and just lowering it into the pot. And that's kind of the height that it will be. Not buried, but not too deep. So we don't need a lot of mix in there. Perfect. Look at that. Absolutely great. Make sure that all the roots are inside the pot and not coming over the edge. And then what you need is a handy dandy homemade potting scoop. Do a little bit on one side. And you're not adding a lot. It's just a small amount. This is important. Give it a shake. This next step is also important. We're going to spray it again. Rotating as you go, just to top off any areas that may have been missed. The next project is to properly irrigate this. And this is where some people will say that I've done this in the wrong order. When I spray it, I want to get a very even coating over the entire plant. And by doing it the way I did it, we've built up a couple of layers, and I don't think there's much missed. And the observation is that when you water it, you might actually wash off some of that. But we're not splashing water on the branches or the leaves. We're just going to put a little bit on the center. You remember how dry the root ball was, and that's why we've put it in this pot. The water can drain through, but the plant will stand in water, maybe an inch, inch and a half, and gradually rehydrate. It's very important. A few more things to consider. Whenever you're watering a plant like this at this time of the year, do not use cold tap water, even if it's just a little bit warmer. And if you put your hand in it and you can't feel that it's cold or hot, that's perfect. But if it's really cold, it'll keep the root ball cold, even though it's trying to heat up. So just a little bit of an insight there. And the next thing is to give the plant some feed. So I've used this Neptune's Harvest, not sponsored in any way. It's lightweight, it's not strong, it's not aggressive. But you can put a little bit in here. You can put a little bit neat in there. And then when you water from above, you're giving it a weak solution. And then you put some in the bottom, and that will dilute what you put in the bottom. There we go. And that is an inch. So there's our plant. Doesn't look very good, does it? It looks a bit tired and a bit raggedy. But I can promise you, this is going to put on lots of growth. We've taken away the insects that were feeding on it. We've removed the sources of reinfection. We've taken away the eggs that were stored underneath the leaves. We've actually got ourselves a little free plant. That's easy. We'll pop that up shortly. And all this needs is to be given sunlight. Keep it at 45 degrees or thereabouts, and let it do the rest. Now you might think, all right, I've rescued my plant and I've done all of this, now what? Well, don't put it back with plants that are reinfected or reinfectable. You may have this growing in a greenhouse where this is the plant that looks the worst and the others seem okay, but you can be sure that there's more sources of reinfection. So you've got to treat all the plants and then somewhat quarantine them, put them in different rooms in your house if you don't have a greenhouse. But don't just go right back to where it was and let the plant face the gauntlet of Greenfly all over again. So that's how you rescue a plant. This is Salvia, beautiful purpley blue, and I got this a few years ago. It's not hardy here in New England, but well worth saving. Prune it back, keep it on the dry side, have it come through the winter, and it's going to reward you with flowers that attract hummingbirds. So thank you so much for watching. Do have a look at the archive. Lots and lots of videos on plants and planting that will help you do more. That's it. Bye for now.